Hey guys, welcome. I am Squiggles, and I'm bringing you another game today. This one is going to be between NEXSickness. This is his name, it's his Korean name, but this is NEXSickness, the purple Protoss at the top of the map, and at the bottom of the map, we do have NEXArtGGaTeR with a little GG thrown in very cleverly in the middle of his name, and he is going to be the blue Zerg at the bottom. So it's a Nex versus Nex, both in the same clan. That means they are both StarCraft 2 professional gamers from Korea. So I'm very excited to see what these guys have in store for us. And I have it on faster times too, so let's just slow that down. There we go. Okay, now that we have all of this out of the way, it's going to be on Metalopolis, as you all can see. And I'm really excited. This is a decently long game, not that you can tell, but I'll just tell you. It's decently long, so I'm expecting lots of macro play and lots of good old-fashioned aggression. And I'm interested to see how these players adapt their playstyles too, because they know each other, they're on the same team, and it looks like Mr. Proby over here, just right off the bat, not going to let him take that early expand. On Metalopolis, these spawn positions are actually so good for Zerg because he can actually expand if you look at the minimap along the bottom here, kind of away from his opponent. So he can just take expansion after expansion after expansion very easily, and they can really take their halves of the map fairly quickly. So that favors the Zerg who wants to do nothing but just spam drones in the beginning and just build drones and build drones and build drones. So we'll see if he does indeed do that. Nice wall off here at the front, putting the pylon behind, and then the gateway and the cybernetics core here. That means that only this little tiny sliver is open, and he's able to put a probe or a zealot or a stalker or something right here on hold position and totally avoid any like Zergling run-bys and stuff, which is fairly popular. So this probe doing a little dancing, and he sees his Zergling buddies, and they forget about him, and then they come back and they're like, "Hey, dude, we actually need this spot. It's reserved. It's a reserved table." And he's like, "Oh!" And then they shank him and drag him out the back and throw him in a dumpster. So short life for that probe. Um, and there goes the hatchery down, as we can see on the minimap. Blah blah, the hatchery. Also getting Zergling speed, and he's just going to use, it looks like he only has 4 Zerglings, and he's just going to use these to kind of get some map control, be able to see what the Protoss is doing, maybe plant them outside the front right here, maybe poke. As I said before, this is the Zealot right here, and he's on hold position, so these Zerglings are not going to be able to do anything, and they poke up, and they see that, and the Zealot smacks one of them with his double spatulas. And then the Zerglings decide that they don't really want to get hit on by people with cooking appliances. So they back off, and they're just going to be poking around the thing, what's up. Meanwhile, let's see what he has. He has a queen doing her little queen thing. Getting a second queen now and getting that creep tumor, so he's going to start spreading creep, which is very good. Back where the action might be, we have a sentry coming out for sickness. So he is going to be ultra safe. The sentry with the ability force field, you can just force field your ramp boop right here, and so you have to get past the force field, which is like impossible, and then you have to get past the zealot, or you have to kill these buildings. So pretty much the Protoss is 100% safe and sexy, and ooh, getting a Stargate with a Void Ray. We see a lot of Phoenix action nowadays because of how quick the build time is for Phoenixes, but it looks like he is going to be going Void Rays, so I'm very excited to see what kind of damage he's going to be able to do with that. This is going to kind of completely negate these Zerglings at the front for Gator, and we're gonna see what happens here. I do like Gator. He looks like he's just two basing, getting a ton of drones. Let's look at the income really quick. We see 33 drones versus 30 set, and that's how the Zerg rolls. They just pump out a ton of them. But 36 drones over 28 probes. So getting decently ahead just because of Varmint Larva and being able to just constantly pump drones. And these Zerglings is just allow him to keep poking around and keep on looking and seeing what's happening. Now the Protoss is expanding behind Void Rays and a small ground army, mostly sentries actually, so we're going to see a lot of force field action, I believe. And man, these Zerglings are just having a bad day. They cannot catch a break. Now they have Void Rays attacking them, and they can't even attack the Void Ray back. So they're going to run home to their mommy and tattle on the Void Ray and tell the Queen exactly what's going on. And the Queen's going to probably throw up in surprise. No, they actually walkie-talkied her, and she threw up a little bit prematurely. So He does have Spore Crawlers out, though, so Gator should be totally fine between Spore Crawlers right here in the mineral line and these Queens who can also attack air. So looks like he's also getting a quick +1 ground ranged units, so that is going to be good. These 4 Zerglings, and this may not seem like a lot, but he actually has kept these 4 Zerglings alive the whole time. A lot of people, when they probe the front, will lose 1, lose 2, and as they keep on doing it, lose another one. He's able to keep all of his units alive, and that means he doesn't have to rebuild them. So he's free to use that larva on additional drones, which is pretty important. And here come the Phoenixes. That's what I was talking about. So it looks like Phoenixes and Void Rays and Zealots and Sentries for the Protoss at this point. And there's the probe transfer. This Void Ray did a little poking and then went ahead and walked back out. And these probes are being very, very, very good about just poking around the map, seeing what they can see. He's going to leave one at the Zelnaga Watchtower, giving me a huge sight right here. Taking his 3rd. So it looks like Gator is really being proactive about expanding, and he sees that the Protoss is going to be turtling for a little bit, doing a little poking with Void Rays, but mostly just turtling. So he's going to go ahead and take a 3rd. And he has been on 2 bases for a while, so he does have, let's see, 67 supply for the Zerg player, and for the Protoss player, we have 72 supply. So supply is incredibly, incredibly close. Yeah, 73 now for the Zerg, so almost identical supplies. So it's going to come down a lot to, ooh, Phoenixes coming out now, and he's using these Phoenixes. They're not together, so he's just scouting, and you can see this very, I don't even know what this is, like hourglass scout path that he has going on. But he's just going to see what he can possibly see here. This negates a lot of the Zerg ground units because, let's see, is he getting, looks like he's getting a Spire, getting a Roach Warren, and that 3rd hatchery, as I said. He's also getting +2 Zerg missile attack and Groove Spines. So that is pretty awesome. He does have Hydras out as well. He does see the air superiority that the Protoss is trying to go. So he's getting out some Hydras, which are really good against gateway units and also good against air. So Hydras are a good choice, but he is also getting a Spire and Roaches. And his 3rd is done, and he has that Queen there. Meanwhile, we have another Void Ray being made, and it looks like doing a very good job. Gator is doing a good job of spreading this creep. He's only using 1 creep tumor. You see a lot of pros use like 3 at a time. They'll just be like make, and it'll spread like incredibly fast. But he is spreading creep fairly well up that lane. Now, this is where the action is going to be. It looks like Protoss is going to push out. He has a lot of energy on these sentries, so he's going to see if he can take out this 3rd. He wants to keep Zerg on 2 base if at all possible, lifting up the Queen and focusing it down, and he has to drop the Queen because the Phoenix was killed that had it, and this Queen is pissed, and she is going to work on them. Meanwhile, force field's going down. Oh, it's totally going to block the ramp, and these these Hydras are worthless. They're trying to get up, and they just cannot do anything. Force fielding again and trapping 3 of these Hydras, and the other Hydras are just content to patrol because they really can't do anything else. And more force fields going down, totally cutting it off. And now I think he's going to try to focus down this hatchery if he can before the Zerg, and the Zerg is waiting for these force fields. And more force fields going down that is going to completely do it. And I believe this hatchery is going to go down. Yes, it is. And now he is just going to back up. Well, he's going to stop to kill the guys who are going to die in a second anyway. But now he's going to back up. That's so good. That's all he wanted to do. Not overcommitting with his units, using those force fields, like I said, on the sentries rather. And now going to run away. Ooh, a little bit of a poke by some Zerglings. He's going to try to take out some of these sentries, and it looks like he will take out 1, take out 2. And he's doing a little bit of thing. More force fields going down, trapping these Zerg units who are trying to do this counterattack, and the Protoss is going to be running back with a ton of Zerg units in pursuit. They are mad. They lost a hatchery, and they are not going to stand by and just idly let this happen. But it looks like the Protoss, who has been macroing fairly well, has a lot of Stalkers and more Void Rays back home, so that's going to slow down and stop the Zerg aggression, maybe, once he sees that. But here comes the counter push by the Zerg, and you can see as he's pushing, he is also re-expanding, so that is very good. It's going to make getting that expansion up a lot easier. And he is pushing now at the front, and ooh, he's taking the gold as well. But the real action is right here. Zealot's morphing in, and lots of force fields going down. Oh, it looks like it's not even going to be close as the Zealot, Sentry, Stalker, and Void Ray army just completely crushed that little push, and the Zerg wisely pulls back. It looks like he did double expand, though. He is taking the gold and the 3rd up in this corner again, so now the Protoss is pushing out again. He knows he needs to stop the Zerg from expanding, and since Gator rather, is a really good player, and they're on the same team. He probably knows that he used that to expand, so he is going to be coming down here to stop this expansion again. Does not realize, and now he does, as this Phoenix flies over, that there is a hatchery at the gold as well. So he's going to come up here. I do believe this is going to be canceled since the Zerg does not have any units in close proximity, and he's laying some pressure on, and there is the cancel, and now he's going to back off, and he's going to go, I believe, to the gold and try to shut this down as well. He really needs to keep the Zerg on as few bases as possible, and here he goes, beelining straight for the gold, seeing if he can do the damage he needs to do and shut it down. Meanwhile, a lot of corruptors coming out from the Zerg. This is going to totally shut down these Void Rays, and as we come in and see this Void Ray getting focused, and it looks like Hydras and Zerglings as well joining the fight, and the sentry's being sniped off. Force fields are going to cover the escape, and he is going to back off for now. So the Zerg is very, very fortunate that he's able to stop that Protoss aggression. And meanwhile, back at base, the Protoss is just spamming Stalkers nonstop. It seems like that is the unit of choice for him. Still doesn't have any upgrades for his Stalkers at 0-0. Meanwhile, if we look at the Zerg, we have +2 attack already done for the Zerg. So Zerg way ahead in upgrades and also getting level 1 carapace for ground. So Zerg well ahead in upgrades at this point. It looks like the Protoss is going to be expanding up here to the top, taking his third finally, and that's going to put him on 3 base versus 3 base, which is pretty good, except that the Zerg has this gold, so that could be problematic as you get 8 minerals per trip as opposed to the normal 5. So if you hold that gold for any length of time, your economy is going to be off the hooks. And it looks like the Protoss realizes this and he's going to move out. That is a ton of Stalkers and 6 Void Rays. And here goes the Guardian Shield, and we're going to see if he can do the damage he needs to do. There's a lot of Corruptors here, though, a lot of Zerglings, and a lot of Hydralisks. And here's the battle joint. It looks like there is going to be no force fields, really, and these Corruptors doing tons of damage to these Void Rays. We can see he had initially had 6, now only has 0, so he lost all of those, and still plenty of Corruptors left. So Zerg now has air control, and all of these Stalkers are going to back up because they did not think they could complete